Welcome to Start Before You're Ready, the podcast that proves that you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to begin your journey towards better health and happiness. I'm your host, Kelly Young. Remember, the first step is often the hardest, but it's always worth taking. Hey guys, it's Kelly, and I am back with an episode of Start Before You're Ready that I know you are going to really enjoy. I am here with my friend and teammate, Rachele Jaegers. She is coming to us from Mammoth Lakes, California. So this is super early for her, but she's a fitness pro. So we're used to early times. That's no big deal. Rachele and I have known each other since 2019. We were both part of Team Elevate in the Todd Durkin Mastermind. We're both still in the mastermind, and I consider her my teammate still. And it was really wonderful to work with Rachele as a teammate because she's been doing something that I wanted to do or started to do for over 10 years. I'm going to let her tell you about her business, but her business is called VFit, and she has been doing virtual group fitness for 10 years. Rachele, tell us all about how you are a total trailblazer and pioneer in this space.
Oh, thank you. What a nice welcome. And yes, I love, right back to you, love being teammates. We're still teammates. We're on the same mission. And I feel like in a lot of ways, even though you're more brick and mortar, we run our businesses very similar in the way that our mission and our purpose and our impact is. So I live out in the mountains of California, up in 8,000 feet, snow country, big resort town. And I run an online, like Kelly said, virtual fitness business that, I don't want to say it was by mistake by any means, but I started VFit back 10 years ago. Before that, I was personal training clients on Skype, and that all started from having young kids in the house and not being able to get to the gym as much as I was before. I was working actually a accounting office job, 8-10 hours a day, and I wasn't happy. I wanted to get more into the fitness space. I knew that was where my purpose and my calling was, and it just wasn't realistic to get to the gym as much as possible. I actually live out of town a little bit, so it would require a longer commute. There's no childcare. It was just a lot. So I started training clients on Skype, really to date myself. Wow. So that was probably 13 years ago when my oldest, who's now 12, who was just a tiny, tiny baby. I would wake up early, talk about early wake ups. And I think in fitness, I really believe, I even just led an hour coaching call with a group I'm coaching right now. Before this, you win your morning and you win your day, because many of us have full lives. And if it doesn't get done in the morning, it doesn't usually get done. Mm-hmm. But I found my husband had been encouraging me. I love group fitness. I think there's something really, which we'll tap into more, special about group fitness. There's community, there's friendships, there's a joint energy. It's just something that's changed my life from a really dark place and was my gateway to find a love for my body and fitness. So I wanted to get into fitness, group fitness, and I feel like you can serve a wider audience as well and help more people. But I didn't know how to do it online, because if it was Skype, I would have to individually call everyone. So one of my friends who I grew up, who was a nutritionist, approached me one day. Again, this was probably closer to 11 years ago, and said, "Would you like to host a workshop with me? We can call it Fit and Fueled, and you lead the workout, and then I'll give them a list of recipe or ingredients, and then we'll go to the kitchen and I'll lead a cooking demo." And I'm like, "Yes, that sounds amazing. How are we going to do this to reach multiple people?" And she said, "I just found this platform called Zoom, and it looks like multiple people can come in at the same time and they get a link." And I'm like, "Okay, let's try it." And so we hosted this workshop, and I just was like, okay, this is exactly what I was looking for. Again, nobody knew what Zoom was back then. And so I just started, again, the way God works too, just showing me little pieces of how I wanted to put this business together. I wanted people to be able to book their classes, so there's accountability. It was really important to me. I could have streamed on Facebook. I think Facebook Live was a thing back then. But again, for that energy and that community, I believe seeing each other is really powerful. And to hear your name and to, for me to really be able to encourage them and see their form. And so I didn't have a business plan. I always joke, I have a book back there, Business Plan 101, and I got to page 2. I was just okay. And then I had always been doing half-hour sessions, because I also was like, okay, we're at home. People, have a lot going on. Like, let's just do 30 minutes. We can get a lot done in 30 minutes. So I took that model into VFit. We do have classes back to back. So if someone does want a longer workout, they can do 2 classes. But I was like, 30 minutes is powerful. We've got, so I started to put it together. And then one of my friends, who's still a trainer today with VFit, was like, you can't do this all by yourself. You're going to like die trying to teach. I think at that time we maybe had 15, 20 classes on the schedule.
What?
She's like, let me help you.
You were teaching 15, 20 classes?
No, well, they're half hour.
Oh.
No, that's when she came in and said, let me help you.
Okay.
And then I had another friend that said, I'll help too. But I was teaching, you know how it is in fitness. I was teaching a unsustainable, ridiculous amount of classes for that first beginning, but they're half hour. So you have to think too.
7, 8 hours.
Kind of. Yeah. But no, I was probably teaching at my peak, like 24 classes a week, which that's a lot of, as a trainer, that's a lot of, you're not just working out to
It's a lot of energy.
It's a lot of energy. So,
yeah.
I just, like we still do today, I just put it out there. Like, anyone want to join this crazy idea I have? You can have a free week trial, see if you like it. And I think I got about 15 people that first week, of which 10 became members. And I think to this day, seven of them are still members. Just little by little now, we have 70 classes a week. I have a trainer team of 12, about 300 members across the country. So it was really just one little step, kind of like any business. You just have to, I think people get paralyzed with perfection. I see this a lot with businesses. And I mean, I've pivoted and changed softwares and web, you just have to do what you do best and put it out there. And then everything else you can learn and hire and evolve. So, but the heart of VFit has not changed in the fact that it's live, interactive, 30 minutes. And we're all about celebrating each other coast to coast.
It's incredible. Your business model is incredible, Rachele. I really marvel at what you've done. And I think anybody that has a brick and mortar is very jealous of her overhead because your instructors teach out of their home. So you don't pay rent. Everything is virtual. It's a really brilliant model. It really is. You're so ahead of your time. And I'm a part of your community too, just because I admire what you do so much. And I see how you highlight your members and I see how you really know them. And even though you maybe have never met them in person, you find ways to connect. Tell us how, I'd love to hear the history of that a little bit. Like, maybe how you were able to connect with them initially, or how you continue that, or your best practices.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I was laughing because someone that, you're not going to always be everyone's cup of tea. And I think of us as a very boutique online fitness studio. I'm not trying to compete with Peloton or Beachbody or these massive companies that have, thousands and thousands of people. So we are, not the cheapest. We're definitely the best because it's the personal connection. And again, it's kind of just by, someone the other day was like, well, you're just instructors teaching out of your living rooms or what you call it, homes. And I'm like, no, I've taught from a hotel room, a campsite, the side of the road. The kids we teach from.
You taught from the retreat. I've been with you at the retreat when you were leading classes.
So I think just because I don't know any other way to show up than being real. And I had a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old when I started VFit. And I believe I wanted them to be part of the journey. And so my kids were coming into classes and I'm changing diapers and we are at home. And I think through the pandemic, that became more normalized, that like, you didn't have to be this perfect studio with perfect lighting and hair and makeup. I mean, I probably could have got a little more dressed up for today, but this is
But you knew it was me, so you'd be fine.
Hey, it's at 5 a.m. This is what you get. But so it was showing up to show other people that like self-care is critical care. And if you take all the excuses and roadblocks away, that you just show up. And so I think it made our members from the beginning feel really connected because they see a pile of laundry in the background or a kid fly by or, a kid jump on your back and different parts of the house. And I wanted it to feel real. And by it being two-way camera, we do really get, even my trainers who have taught in brick and mortar gyms, we feel like we know our members better in a lot of ways because we're literally coming into their homes. Like we're seeing their pets, their cats. I know when they're in a different location, like, oh, you're traveling, or a spouse walks by to go out to, work, and they give a little kiss goodbye, or a kid runs in. So you're seeing the realness, which isn't perfect.
Yeah.
And now we were just talking before we got on, but when I started the business, I was in the phase of life. Now I have 3 kids where we were housebound a lot, like with naps and all the schedules and, having chaos at home, to now 10 years later, my kids are in lots of sports, and it's the opposite. Now we're never home. And so VFit has been that staple. And I think just that connection of showing your realness allows them to show their realness. And that's where connection's built, is when you could both come as, I always joke, the perfect hot mess that you are, like whatever, pajamas, whatever you want to roll out. And, so I think it's just, that's really made the community part, because people feel safe and appreciated and like celebrated. I think a huge thing we do, because I really do care, and I've instilled it in every single trainer, and I believe everybody that comes into VFit, that's why I always say you have to try it. You really feel that the trainer cares about you. You, as women especially, we're always doing for everybody else. We've put so many hats on, so many plates, and to hear like, you do this so well, so amazingly, like, good job, I see you, I'm celebrating you. Like, that is a human need that it's okay to say, like, that feels good. Like,
yeah,
that's important.
Yeah, I think so, for sure, for sure. So you started off with 2 of your friends as trainers, people that you'd already known, and then how did you grow your team to 12?
So I love this, because the mastermind was actually a big part of that. I remember going to Idea Fitness, the big, huge, it used to be huge convention.
Yeah.
I wanted to go so many years, and I kept getting pregnant and nursing and all that. So I finally go, and it was so overwhelming and so huge. And I had imposter syndrome. I mean, I had every emotion. I felt so, what am I doing in this space? No one's virtual. Are they thinking I'm going against the gyms? And I just felt this like crazy, like just insecurity and just all these things that come up when you're running a business. And so I found Todd Durkin at that conference, and I ditched my plan, and I just was like, these are my people. Like, this is about serving. And I think it was Travis Barnes, who's still a big part of the mastermind, had talked about how his whole team was there. And I'm thinking, by now I had built a little bit of a team. I think we're up to 5 trainers. And I'm like, I want to bring my team to this next year and build a bigger team and, have more impact. And so, once you put something out there, I really believe, and then you start, doing the work, the opportunities come. So I brought on, it was through a member that actually referred one of my next trainers that came on about 9 years ago out of Texas. And then I had another friend trainer too from my gym network here in town. That same thing, their life circumstances changed, and teaching virtual was going to work better for them. And then the rest of my trainer team have come from being members. Like this was really important.
I love that.
Trina taught that, like, there's different ways to hire. You can bring people in, you can hire them or raise them up. And so I just had a few members that loved everything about VFit, the culture. I knew they had the personalities and the work ethic and the compassion. And so, we got them through training, and we kind of had a little intern program. And the good thing, which again, I've done the brick and mortar, and you have an amazing team too, and it comes from your leadership. But I do find like my team is really willing to sub for each other, because it's like someone will say, my kid's throwing up, I've got a class in 10 minutes, I don't know what to do. And someone else will be like, I'll hop in and do it, because they're already home. So it makes I've had I think in 10 years, I've only had 2 trainers, 2 or 3, not work out. And so, yeah, we've just got a very solid team, because it works from the trainer side too, with their lives.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And so for your programming, do you tell your instructors, hey, what do you love to teach? Or do you look for certain classes?
So that's a good one too. And I remember sometimes when I worked at the gym, like if you subbed for someone, it was like, gosh, I'm coming in, and you feel like, I think we all know that feeling as a trainer. You're like, are they going to, like, you kind of get in your head a little bit.
You feel like you need to be the person you're subbing for.
Yeah, which we're in. So this
you're
is
not going to be.
Right. So it's very call, our core values, our trainer team knows what VFit is about and what it stands for. And because they were that way coming in, that part of the culture has been, really consistent, but each trainer does come with a different personality. Now we can play music through a Zoom, which again wasn't possible in the very beginning, which was a big change in teaching group fitness without music. I would make playlists and send it to people. I mean, it was crazy what we used to do, but not every trainer likes to play music. And I think at first I brought specific ones in for, their specialty in yoga or strength. And I think we all do have those formats that we're, just is our thing and we love it so much. But one thing I'm very proud of is literally every trainer, because we craft most of our own formats, can teach anything. There's just a few of us that will not teach cardio dance because that's outside of our wheelhouse. But I would say, and that's been a huge blessing on the trainer team, is I've empowered and encouraged them to step into areas that they were maybe not confident in or familiar with. And they're able to take each other's classes a lot too and learn from each other. So that was harder too when you're working at the gym, because you're, having to go teach your class and you can't necessarily always take other people's classes. It's not as convenient. Right. And so my team, they all have unlimited classes that they can take. And so we really do take each other's classes. And if someone's like, okay, I can sub that, but I'm not sure exactly, we help bring it. And I think that's something I've really empowered them with, is to grow in all formats. So I would say for the most part, every trainer is very competent and they're not just getting up there like you would never know that isn't their specialty or their niche. And I mean, even for me to teach stretching and slow down classes, it gives us an area to grow in, because I'm definitely a cardio high energy trainer.
What is your most popular class? What would you say people flock to the most?
So our mornings are the most popular. We do have a 6 a.m. East Coast class, so it says 3 a.m. on our schedule because I'm on the West Coast. But our most popular, I wouldn't even say we have a specific popular class. I would say the 5:30. So we have classes at 5:30, 6, 6:30, 7, 8, and 9, and 9:30. Literally that time frame is our, for the most part, most popular chunk. And again, that's just the morning people or people that take their kids to school or are retired or work from home, those 9 and 8 o'clock classes. But we do, and I'm sure you craft your workouts this way too, because you guys have so much diversity. We have a functional fitness plan that we follow where we're making sure there's cardio, strength, balance, mobility, and recovery. Now, the morning people don't like the recovery as much because they want to get up and go. But we try. So if you're a 6 a.m. worker outer, you're going to get circuit on Monday, Tabata on Tuesday, sculpt and stretch on Wednesday. We're making
yes, I love that. I love that.
I spend a lot of time crafting the schedule. And one thing, if a class starts to get slower, you're you have to look at, as a leader, is it the time? Is it the format? Sometimes it's a new format. We just added a couple more mobility classes this year because we're noticing people are really lacking in mobility. We'd built the recovery side. We have an evening stretch class every night and a couple express 15-minute stretch classes. We're always adapting and kind of changing. We do run a report every month on the top 10 classes.
Yeah.
And it really varies. It's really incredible.
Interesting.
During December, when people had more time off, there was different. So I think for our members, it's more the time of day than the format because they're getting so much variety. We do teach, I teach on Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock and 8:30. I call it Super Saturday. We have other classes on Saturday, but a format called Willpower and Grace, which is how I found my way into fitness. I had been having miscarriages and just was at a really low in my life with my body. And I decided to do something about it and joined the gym and found this format, which was the first class I ever taught. And it was the first time I'd had an emotional experience with exercise. It wasn't just a physical. So it was the emotional and spiritual side of, it's kind of a low impact, lots of squats, lots of lunges, but you're infusing messaging and it's just... So I teach that every Saturday. And then right after that, I teach sculpt and stretch, which is 20 minutes of weights and 10 minutes of stretching. And those two classes every month, we call it the VFit Church, have just been the top classes. And my team will step in and sub for them. And I think it's great for them to put their spin on it. our team loves sculpt and stretch. So they get 20 minutes of strength and 10 minutes of stretching too. That tends to be really popular whenever we have it.
Well, strength, I think, is a great one to do from home because it's just easier to do in whatever amount of space you have. And I think that we find that too with our home exercisers. So do you have any classes at night that aren't stretching? And
we have, and it's funny because I think too, like when I started VFit, like I said, a lot of people had young kids and we were home and our evenings were, more busy, but now a lot of us are out of the house for sports and taking our kids every which way. But we do have a 4 o'clock class a 4 o'clock and a 5 o'clock class in the evenings that is not stretching. So we have Tabata one night, dance, a box and blast, flow fusion. So we have some evening classes, and then the later time slots are the stretching and like 6:30, 8:30 at night. So
I think that makes sense. We
definitely pad the mornings. I mean,
which is probably what your instructors want to teach too. So
and
it
then,
works.
We get
it works
our
out.
kids off.
And plus, you guys are. I mean, you have instructors from multiple time zones, so that also helps, I guess. I mean, it makes it a little bit more challenging in some ways. Now, when you first started, you couldn't schedule. I mean, at least from my experience, has that part gotten easier? The time zone part have the software platforms made that easier for you, or no?
I know that's another. I think everybody who's in any business, software is a part of everybody's business. And I have to say, and again, I think it was just kind of, I know it was the grace of God and just the way, like I used to have to hodgepodge so many systems together. And just now there are better central management systems as far as being able to stay engaged with your clients and on top of retention and tracking, if they're starting to take less classes or do better. And I think that's really important for the community side.
Yeah. Yep.
To know, because once someone, like anything, stops coming, they start to replace that time with something else. And it's really hard to get back. So there is a software company that will convert the time zone. That was one of my biggest struggles. And we still have a good majority of our members are on the West Coast, but we definitely have a good amount in the East Coast. It's the central times we have a little bit less. That might just be a harder time zone. But we do have FitGrid. There is a software that will convert the time for them. But I always say, I'm always amazed because anytime I travel and try to figure out, and all my East Coasters listening, for many years, they had to figure out the time change themselves. And that's a lot of extra work. But now there are ways to help that, which has been very helpful to get other time zones.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that, Rachele, because we both use the same software. And I don't want to say we're dinosaurs, but I don't know if you struggle with this. I feel like that's why when you posted the other day on the Facebook group for the mastermind about Mind Body, I was like, thank you. Like, I really struggle. I've been using Mind Body since 2010, and they have gone through a ton of growing pains, and you will hear me complain about them, but they've also were how I wouldn't have been able to run my business without them. I also show some gratitude towards them, and I'm very loyal. So unless you really punch me in the face, like, I'm not going to leave you. And I have stayed with Mind Body, and, we all get the calls from all the new pop-ups, and, we have friends creating new software. I mean, it's obviously software is just a huge industry, and everyone's trying to be better and cheaper, and there are a lot. Mind Body's certainly not the cheapest, but all in all, would you say that you've been happy with Mind Body, or you feel like, oh, if I could leave, I would, or it's okay? I mean, we're not.
So it's kind of like what you said. I've had them for 10 years, and it's what I started my business with, and there's so much data and history So one thing we track every time a member shows up to a class, and we celebrate those milestones, and there's so much data in there that it's overwhelming to think of, like, and I know you can transition it to other programs. So I've also been frustrated to a point with them where they try to rope you into some new upgrade, and then you don't like it, and then they don't let you go back to your old contract. And now I just stick with what I
agree with you there.
So now I'm like, okay, this is what I like them for. And I've been able, and I think you use FitGrid too. And this, again, probably isn't relevant if you're not in the fitness space, but I think this is important just in business in general. There are different avenues for different things. Like FitGrid is a company that is not mind body, but it integrates with them. So you've used it too. So I think sometimes it's hard to find everything you want in one place.
Yep.
And so I think if there's something that you feel like, to be open to see other things that can help. And so now I'm at a place that the gaps that mind body has, I've found other places to fill them. And I don't know that there is a solution that would have everything that, we need. And even like I said, playing, like things are always evolving. Like you didn't used to be able to play music on Zoom. I used to have to manually trigger the system. I mean, I would sit at my computer at 10 at night, like not emailing link by link, but like having to hodgepodge away to get the links to members. And now so I think things evolve, and that is the good thing about software is there are companies out there looking for how they can help those of us more. So I wouldn't say I'm like you. I'm like, the thought of leaving is overwhelming. Would I be open to a different system? Yes, but it's not something I'm actively pursuing. Yeah. And so, also there's a level of like your members, are you, it's like anything.
That's for me. They would kill me because I had just never for purchasing or scheduling. We've always used MindBody, but I've confused them with some different apps. And they don't, even MyZone is a different app. So it's like, you've got MyZone, you've got FitGrid, you've got MindBody.
And they do get confused because then they have their own things in their own life for everything else. And you have to think from a consumer standpoint too. Yes. Like when MindBody makes a change, I'm like, oh, that's overwhelming to me. So like right now they want us to change our whole payment processing. And I keep like putting it off because I'm like, don't feel like spending the time. It might even be super quick, but you do have to think when you're making a change.
We did it. And one thing that I would warn anyone, we need to refund somebody for something, you have to send them a check. You can't refund them because once you have the new platform, system. I mean, it will just be a short window of time when it's unusual that it happens. I did want to ask you, Rachele, this is just more curious, and I hope this is not of disinterest to our audience, but we cannot schedule, our members cannot schedule a virtual class through the MindBody app.
You have FitGrid, right?
We do. They can schedule a virtual class through FitGrid, but some of our members use MindBody. They don't use FitGrid. So I'm curious, you had mentioned the other day that, you use you have the branded MindBody app. I was like, how do they schedule classes? Because we can't schedule MindBody. This is one of the things that they do that I don't know why it's a conflict of interest, but for some reason we can schedule on the MindBody website. So when somebody only has MindBody and they want to schedule a virtual workout, they have to go to the website. They can't do it from the app. Or I just tell people, if you're going to be scheduling virtual workouts, just download the FitGrid app because then you can do everything from there.
Yeah,
anyway,
that would probably have to sounds be like it's not. No. It is funny because do you do your virtual classes live while you're having your class? Like they're logging in while you're actually teaching a class? Okay. So yeah, maybe offline I would have to maneuver around how you would do that, but there should be a way.
It might even be your state. It might, some laws are different. It might, but you can book your virtual classes through the MindBody app.
Yeah. So we have our own. Yeah. So our members can book on our website through our branded app and through MindBody and through FitGrid. And so there are many avenues that they.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just curious about that. Okay. Let's get back to fitness and you. What, Rachele, so one of the things that I'm most passionate about is inviting new people into our community because I feel like it is such a challenge for people that don't have the routine of exercise to establish the routine of exercise. And one of the things that I notice is they come and they want to just do everything because they have a goal in mind and they want to just like do every class and then they're gone. And I'm always like, and I'm the worst salesperson in the world because I really just want to help people. Like my mission is to help people fall in love with the process of becoming fit. And when they come every single day, I know that they're gone in 2 months. So I tell them, and I'm like, don't come every day because you want to create a routine that you can keep going with. And they're like, well, I'm going to come every day and then I'll taper it down. I'm like, it doesn't work like that. What would you say to that person? Or what would be some of your tips for that? Oh
gosh, isn't it so like in fitness, and I think we've all learned this the hard way, you just want to help everybody because the benefits of every other part of your life when you are fit. And I think the first mistake people make is they rely on motivation. And that's why they taper off. They come in super motivated. They probably have unrealistic expectations about what they can achieve in what amount of time. Or they, I always believe any coach really can get someone to get some immediate results by, a crazy diet or overtraining or something. But a truly good coach, which you are and many in our mastermind, it is a lifetime sport.
Yeah.
Like I always say, we are athletes and we are training for the sport that has no off season, it is your life, your quality of life. So on the opposite hand with VFit, because they're only 30-minute classes and it's from home and a lot of it's in the morning, we actually encourage our members to try to make a routine. Like I feel, and I see what you're saying, because it is unrealistic to get to the gym probably every single day. And you do have these people that come in, breaks all of our hearts. Like, even though you told them like, come in slow, build up safely. Like for us, we can be like, come to 10 minutes of a class. And then, if that's what you need,
that is good.
If you're not comfortable turning on your camera, don't turn on your camera. We'd like to see you, but we just want you to get good at showing up. I love that in Atomic Habits, like get good at showing up. But then you have the people that, like you said, will have, because our classes are short and there's a lot of them, you get the people you're like, oh my gosh, you did 15 classes this week. Like and then, they get hurt or something. That's the problem with group fitness is not the problem, but the challenge that we're all faced is, and what I actually love about it is there's so many different levels and abilities and, to empower them, like, your body best. But I think for us, it is a little different in the sense that we do try. I believe fitness is momentum and it's got to be sustainable, like you said. So if you went from someone that's never worked out, you got to find where it fits in your life. And it's because something else has to go. Like you're not going to get another hour of your day because you're like, I want to get fit. You have to figure out what's going to go. So I think we face the same challenge, but in a different way, where I do actually try to encourage, like, it's hard to just say, I'm going to work out on Monday and Friday, and then you get sore again. And then you're always feeling like you're in the same cycle. So do a little bit every day, build the habit. And then when you're ready, layer on a little bit more and then a little bit more. And like you too, we offer a lot of other programming, for people that want to go more into strength or mindset or different challenges or group things. But it's I think the longer you've been doing this, you're like, they're coming in too hot and heavy. Like this is there's
I hate to say it, but you can tell really right away if they're going to be successful by it's a mindset. And then sometimes it shifts. It certainly can shift, but I just would love, like, as a coach, like I really don't think the right thing to say to them is, you're going to burn out if you come every day, because that's not what they want to hear. They don't hear you say it because it's not what they want to hear. But I don't know. I really want to help them. I guess the thing to tell them is that set a goal that you can keep doing. Like that's the whole thing. Like they say, how many times a week should I work out? Well, how many times a week can you sustain? Right? Like that's the key.
And I think that's, again, like looking realistically at your life and where you're at. Like, I would love, the gym was my second home. I mean, I lived there. I was a huge place of community. You have an amazing brick and mortar, and so awesome that you have virtual options too. That gives people that space, but it's also like, what is realistic in this stage of your life? And you got to figure out something that does work for you. And I think that's why VFit, has stood the test of time. If you move, if even my trainers have moved, if your kids are sick, if we have members showing up going through cancer treatment or who've lost loved ones, and it's a safe space where, like, even germs and certain stuff like that. So I think, in some ways we have different obstacles. Everyone always goes, oh, you must be crushing it after COVID. Everyone wants to do stuff online, which, first of all, no, there was a point of Zoom fatigue. And yes, we did peak for parts of COVID because we were ready and we did some things that were pretty big offerings to just open up to the world. But we face the same challenges everybody does. How do you get more people to show up? Like, people, I think, are more broken and unhealthy than ever right now. So you have your people that are doing awesome because they've been doing awesome the whole time. Yeah. And then you have a huge group that are just really, really struggling. And I know all of us are like, we want to do anything to help them because we know
want to help the strugglers.
If you just get some momentum, it's not about motivation. It's about momentum. I say commitment, like if you don't like the word discipline, but that's really, if you can't be disciplined to yourself, how are you going to be disciplined in any other area of life?
Yeah, I totally agree. What's your favorite thing about being a trainer, coach?
I think that on the same token, the challenge, like I always say, we're never going to run out of job. I wouldn't call it job security. Some days you're like, is anybody listening? But I think in the same token, that's what drives me is like, there's always going to be work to be done. There's always going to be somebody to reach. We grow a lot from referrals because our members can share with their sister or their mom or, in a different state or their friend. But even our members go, I've told so many people I'm trying to share and I don't feel like anyone's listening. And you get to the point where you're like, just keep sharing and being the example. And when people are ready, that's one thing I've learned. I spent so much energy, I'm sure every trainer, trying to help people who couldn't help themselves. Like as much as we want to, I can't want it more than they do. Like it doesn't work. I still can't get them dressed in the morning and pull them like just because it's virtual. And we've taken a lot of the roadblocks out. Same thing. They have to have the deep desire within themselves. So I think that's what fuels me is that there's always going to be people to help. And I really believe we are on the front lines of healthcare. I say that all the time. Like to take, because when you don't have your health, nothing else matters. We say that all the time. And so to take, some action and it's so hard too, because once you're kind of like how, like I work out for my mental, like my head for the most, like to curb my anxiety, to make me more productive, to be a nicer human to my family. Like the physical parts are great, but like I literally work out because it keeps me a mentally sane person. So I struggle with like, how does everybody not need that? And maybe they just don't know, or like, so that's the, my mission is like, you'll see it helps every part of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. What do you hope for the fitness industry? Virtual, in person? What's your vision or hope?
My vision, and this is what I love about the mastermind, is there is abundance of people that need help. I am not against you. You are not against me. We rise, and we've learned this by sharing ideas, by helping each other, by sending people to each other. My hope is that, and I don't believe the VFit is not for everybody. Like there's some people that literally will benefit from getting out of the house to a gym. There are people that want heavier weightlifting or things that I don't feel safe offering online because I can't be there to physically cue or move them or spot them. My hope though is that, and I tell this, I think we all feel this way, like that everybody finds something that they enjoy. And that's the thing, if it's not enjoyable. So, we're different communities. Like if someone wants to yell and boot camp, and get that's not us. We're very uplifting and encouraging. But I think, and you probably feel this too, because we do really pay attention to our members when they're coming, when they're tapering off, when they're doing well. I would say we had this discussion on the trainer team, and it breaks my heart, and we do everything we can, but probably 8 out of 10 people that leave are not leaving to pursue something different, which I support that. Like if you're like, hey, VFit served a role, it was amazing, now I'm ready to go back to Orange City, then I'm like, oh my gosh, I support you, we're still going to be here. But the sad part is I know that 8 out of those 10 people have just given up. And that's what drives me too.
Yeah, I agree. And they make a promise to themselves that they don't keep, and they're upset about it. And you don't want to make them feel any worse about it. But it's tricky. It's really tricky. And they think that we're judging them, and we're not. We just want to help them. We want to keep them in the game. I tell them, as long as you're in the game, as long as even if it's tapering a little bit, just don't stop. Don't let 1 week turn into 2 weeks. Don't let, one vacation turn into 3 months, because that's what we see, right? Yeah. We see them get out of the routine and then struggle to get back in. And that's really,
and then, then there's that shame and guilt, which is not what we want. Yeah. We just want to be like, we're here to help or find something, we get a lot of members come back, which really, I'm always like, welcome home, because sometimes, you think something else is going to work, or like I said, that's the big mission. Just everybody, I feel, in the health and fitness industry, there is something for everybody. If it intrigues you, there's so many different things. coming out. I also feel like fitness is a pretty basic, we can get fancy with all these studios and spin studios and equipment and all these like, different really high fancy things, but you can be, I always say like I'm in the best shape of my life with 2 dumbbells and a yoga mat. Like
absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a huge proponent of, I love equipment. I'm not going to lie, but I know I could be in just as good a shape without it. It's just fun. It's just something different.
Fun. Yeah, exactly.
To add to it. But it's not necessary to get into great shape. Well, I have this little analogy, and I don't know if you're like this at all, but I always try to relate to people. And for me, the thing that I struggle, so fitness isn't something I struggle with. I don't think either of us do. I think we've had that as something that we love to do for most of our lives. But I struggle with like organization and keeping things neat and organized. So I found myself like in the beginning of the year, like I create all these projects for myself. Like I need to organize this area and this area and this area. And it helps me because I say to myself, Kelly, this is what people are like for fitness. They let it all get messy and then they have to clean it up. And then they have to find a way to sustain it, right? To have it not get messy again. And I can't do it with organization. We'll see how I do this year, but I'm going on here, whatever of not. So, but here's what I tell myself. When I do spend hours and hours trying to reorganize and purge and do all the things, I'm like, but at least you do this, Kelly. What if you didn't do this? You'd be a hoarder. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I always just try to tell, I like people to understand that we all have our strengths and gifts. If fitness isn't, you just have to keep showing up for it. Maybe you got off track for a couple of years. Maybe your weight is higher than you want it to be. Your joints don't feel as great. But you just need to start and you just need to keep putting yourself back in the game and trying different stuff. Maybe it's like, oh, I never knew that I loved cardio dance or, this mobility stuff is really perfect for me. I was always trying to do high intensity or whatever it is. Like do what feels good for you.
That's such a good analogy. And I think we've all learned that like there are areas I definitely struggle with in life, but on that same token, and I think that's where a lot of people, it's worth investing in a coach and it's worth investing in accountability because if it's hard for you, that's okay. That's like an area to grow. But I even know just running a business, like how many coaches and different people I've hired to help me in areas that are hard for me. And I think a lot of people like beat themselves up, like, why can't I do it? There is no shortage of YouTube videos anybody, but that's the problem. I'm not motivated to just watch a recording. I would never I need what fuels you? Like, do you need to be in person? Do you need, like you said, all those things? And then don't be afraid to invest. Like there's a lot of people that say, I'm not in good enough. I'm sure you've heard this a lot too. And I don't ever mean to laugh at it because it's true, but they say, I'm not in good enough shape to start. Yeah. And I'm like, you just have to start. There's no benchmark. Like it's not working on your own for a reason. It's most people, there are those rare people that can be super motivated and disciplined, especially out here, we have a lot of very outdoor athlete people, triathletes and that sort of thing. But for most of us, it's okay to say, I need accountability. I need someone to hold me accountable and to help me do this safely and properly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you just kind of touched on my last question for you, Rachele. So the name of this podcast is Start Before You're Ready. And I know that based on your story of how you started your business, you absolutely embraced that theory of starting before you're ready. Is there any other time in your life where you felt like you started before you were ready or could share an experience?
Wouldn't every day with parenting
that's such a good one. That's such a good one.
You thought you were ready. And then after the first kid, I'm like, now I'm even less ready. By the third kid, I'm like, this is now zone. I'm really not ready. So no, I really do think parenting is
a great one.
Start before you're ready because each kid is different. Each phase is different. Every day is different. I think when it comes to business, and this is something I really encourage and why we do a lot of also coaching with mindset and leadership is you're never going to be fully ready. You're never going to see every obstacle that's in front of you or going to be in front of you. You're never going to be able to predict exactly how anything's going to go. And so, we use this phrase a lot too. Well, there's a ready, fire, aim. But on our team, we call it jump and the parachute will open. So if we have an idea or we want to change, I've gotten good at encouraging our team to just take action.
Yeah.
We worry about what's the worst that's going to happen if that class format doesn't work out. We can change it. If this
Exactly.
program doesn't land the people that I wanted, the need wasn't there. So you learn to look at things. Like I had a company before VFit that I thought was going to be, the thing, and this amazing, lots of work and with a partner, and it didn't turn into anything. And it could have been looked at as a failure, but so many of those core principles and values are now in my business today. And so I think,
I love that.
To not get paralyzed by perfection is, and we see this in the mastermind too, with a lot of new people starting, like it's not easy. I'm not saying it's just you just kind of you just got to put the reps in. You just got to put the reps in.
Yeah. Well, it is. I think that you mentioned it a few times, but it is really great to have people that do what you do or something similar to what you do that are on your team that aren't necessarily on your team. Because as business owners, sometimes you can feel very alone and you can feel like you don't have the answers. And it is really nice to be part of a mastermind that Rachele and I are part of the Dr. Mastermind, to be able to reach out, whether it be something about equipment, a different class format, a training, a certification, programs, accountability programs, because repeat it. If hey, this worked for you, I'm going to take it and I'm going to tweak it and make it work for my community. Why not? We're all on a mission. And this is really, really important, that we're all on a mission, like Rachele said in the beginning, to make the world a healthier and a happier place. And we can do it better together. So I would definitely, like when I'm in my younger years, I might have looked at Rachele like, she does virtual, I do virtual. So she had, I don't want to tell her about I don't want to tell my members about her. But no, this might be perfect for some of our members that have family all over that are looking for something that has more options. I mean, we don't claim to be the one-stop solution for virtual training. We do a great job of it, but hey, this could be a better option for you if you're doing it. That's what I would prefer. So really, it is a mission, and the people that have been in this industry, which are a lot of people that I know from the mastermind, and there's a lot of people that have been in the industry, but a lot of people have gotten burnout. They've gotten burnout. They haven't found a way to make money. They haven't found a way to grow and not feel like it's just trading hours for dollars. So it is really great to be connected with people. And that's been my message. And a lot of the podcasts, especially when I've talked to people from outside of my community, is if there's an opportunity for you to connect with other people that do something similar to what you do, put yourself out there, because I know it's helped my community and helped my business and helped me. And it's also been a lot of fun. I love having
retreats.
Yeah, I love having retreats, but I love having friends from all over the country that do different things and that we can grow from.
Well, no, and it's so true, because it's like anything on the outside, you're like, oh, that just comes easy, or they're crushing it. Like we all have the same struggles and challenges, and to know like, okay, that's not just me, and here's how I worked through it. And I mean, like you said, it's an abundance mindset. Like there's not a shortage. So that's so true. But not a lot of people, like I said, the first conference I went to, I was like, retreating and felt so out of place. So there's people for everyone. Find your people. I agree.
Yeah, find your people. That's a great message, Rachele. Thank you so much for being on, Rachele. I admire you so much for what you do. And it's been fun to meet some of your team members at the different retreats and see how close you are with them and just how much your community loves each other. It really is inspiring. And I think that you're just an incredible example of you do not need to be in the same room with someone to make connections. I believe that. The pandemic taught me that for sure, but you were doing it 5 years before the pandemic, at least. So keep doing what you're doing. You're a total rock star. I know some days are hard. I know the stage of life you're in with your kids, and it can feel very, very overwhelming, but you're making a difference not only in your own family and showing your kids what it looks like to do something that you love and serve the world, but you're also making a huge difference in the members that you serve in your team. Thank you, Rachele.
I adore you as well. Right back to you. And can't wait till our next retreat. You have to come to our VFit retreat. We do an retreat in August on the lake. You got a couple mastermind teammates came last year into August.
I do want to come to that. I know. Yes. I think that's a tough day. I'm still in the college kid taking kids to college. Next year I'll be taking 2, but
Oh my
but I
goodness.
love the idea. Maybe we can collaborate on a retreat sometime. I like that idea
That
too.
would be good. Our teams would definitely love each other.
I think so too. I think so too. Thank you so much, Rachele. Have a great rest of the day. Your whole day is in front of you.
And it's nap time already. All right.
Okay. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Start Before You're Ready. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend who might need a little motivation. Ready to start your own journey? Check out our workouts and nutrition coaching programs at kellysbootcamp.net. You can choose from in-person sessions or virtual programs. Set up a complimentary coaching session to get started. Follow along with me and the show on social media at Kellys_bootcamp. Until next time, this is Kelly Young reminding you that the best time to start is always now.